Okay. All right. It's already 10 o'clock in the morning, so I think we shall start. Actually, this morning, initially the session was meant for the LIT group, the Learning Instructional Technology group, I think, about 11 of them. But eventually, we decided to open to public, especially for UUM scholars, so that to introduce to them the concept of SULAM from the perspective of higher education Malaysia. So, well, the title is a little bit, sounds a little bit ambitious. What, why, and how? Because normally we do this within 1.5 days. And today I was given 2 hours to tangle with Munirah, because she's an expert in practicing SULAM herself. I mean, an advocate, a strong advocate of SULAM and a practitioner of SULAM with her colleagues at School of Law. Okay, why SULAM? What does it stand for? Well, the advertisement by UTLC did not mention about Service Learning Malaysia University for Society. And some people thought, menyulam, menjahit, itu pun bagus juga. Sebab tu ada banyak ibu-ibu begini tak? Gelak seorang-seorang. But anyway, SULAM, for this morning, we see SULAM as a community engaged pedagogy. Most of the slides I'm going to share today actually were prepared in collaboration with SULAM Strategic Committee from Higher Education Division. And I'm sharing with you mainly chapter 1. Actually, since last February, the ministry has distributed the handbook of SULAM. I think you can Google, you can get SULAM PDF format by Ministry of Higher Education and distributed to all universities for free. You can download later, because whatever I'm going to share with you today can be accessed through that particular PDF format. Okay. Okay, for today, because of 2 hours, I'm trying to cover as much as possible within the first 1 hour or 5 minutes is possible. And the next half an hour, perhaps Dr. Ani can share her experience doing SULAM, and maybe we'll leave about 30 minutes for question and answer. But in between, I would also welcome you to ask questions. Just press the button, unmute your mic, and interject whenever it's appropriate for you. So we have a couple of things not a couple of things to cover today, but a very simple concept actually. Maybe most of you have done it, but we would like to refine and make it better so that it suits the definition of the ministry. Okay, we're going to cover why SULAM, what is SULAM, the different approaches to SULAM, and how it differs from other types of community engagement, and what are effective practices in SULAM that we can advocate today, and some example and the stages involved in the SULAM process, and also SULAM partnership. Those are the 3 things we hope by the end of this session, you can have some conceptual understanding about what, why, and what. You may not have enough confidence to venture into it yet, but inshallah, with the Nike philosophy, just do it, you will improve from time to time, I believe. And also UTLC also has quite a number of workshops for SULAM. Sometimes the SULAM workshop is conducted by Dr. Noseha, Dr. Fauzia, myself, and several others. I think please keep in touch with UTLC website for more information about next SULAM. Okay, you have seen this, right? Are you familiar with this picture? Orang jawab lah kan. Lebih familiar kan? You've seen this before. But are these SULAM? Maybe you have sent some of your students to do all this. To what extent this kind of activities or community engagement can be upgraded to become our SULAM practice by embedding through our curriculum? Before we go any further, let us recap why are we doing this? Because we subscribe to the Malaysian Higher Education Blueprint, and one of the shift, the first shift, the very important shift is producing holistic entrepreneurial and balanced graduate. So because of that, since the last 7 years, we have introduced HIPS. HIPS stand for High Impact Educational Practices. We've been promoting all these activities for practitioners in higher education so that they can integrate in the curriculum. And number 8 is service learning. That is what SULAM stands for. But we rebrand service learning to become Service University for Society. Very much initiative done under TUIC, Center for Collaboration under Dr. Marlin. Dr. Marlin has been doing quite an sort of a magnificent job to promote community engagement. Hopefully, now we can tie up what UTL is doing with our classroom context at the same time. Why SULAM? Well, we believe that our role as academic is to create a very impactful learning experience for our students, especially if our curriculum in our classroom can connect the classroom contact to societal issues through civic engagement, meaning that we engage students by transferring knowledge they learn in our classroom to the society that can benefit the society and in fact can solve society's issues. That is the main philosophy behind SULAM actually. I think most of our lecturers are very familiar with KTP, Knowledge Transfer Program. Very much similar, but that is in the context of research, how research can benefit community. But in this case, how classroom content can benefit the community for us to use students as our ambassador. They represent us, they transfer what they have learned, we have prepared them enough so that they can go out to the field and help solve issues faced by the community. That is, again, the philosophy. And why SULAM? It has been studied almost 50 years or more than 50 years, how service learning or SULAM can transform students' potential from very academically oriented to more skillful oriented. So we've been talking about 21st century skills, we've been talking about social responsibility, tolerance for diversity. Those are issues we seldom address in our classroom. We're too busy with our content and our syllabus. So this is an opportunity for students to undergo experiential learning in which they can transfer that what they have learned to the community out there. So very briefly, very quickly, if you look at this is taken for the SULAM playbook. You don't have to worry, you have the playbook with you later. Step 1, what we need to do is we have to collaborate with the community. Whatever program is not top-down, like shot sendiri kind of thing, it's more like what the community needs. What are the issues in the community? They don't know how to solve what marketing. They don't know how to market corporate lacquer to the international level. So people from the marketing, perhaps e-marketing, can help them promote the product, etc. And if you go to Changlun area, I'm talking in the context of UUM, right? How can you help improve the quality of life in people in Changlun from whichever perspective, from business, from education, from psychology? There are many ways how we can collaborate with the community to improve the quality of life. That is the first step actually. And then we look at our curriculum, our course especially, which aspect or which course in our program that can really contribute to the community well-being. So that's why in UUM, for instance, in fact, in most of universities in Malaysia, we sort of mandate the university to choose at least one course per program. We don't expect every lecturer to do service learning or SULAM because it's too burdensome for the student. So maybe at least one, if we can have more. I think WSCSB for COB, we require maybe 2 courses, if I'm not mistaken. 2 courses from each program to practice SULAM. So I think it's the role of the course coordinator in collaboration with the head of departments and the dean to identify which courses appropriate enough to take this responsibility to bring SULAM in the classroom. Then the second step is respond to the community identified concerns. What are the concerns? Number 3, we attempt to balance the service that is provided and the learning that will take place. And number 4, we apply what we have learned to real world situation, meaning that's why in our context, a team of task force UUM, we propose SULAM to be introduced during the 2nd or 3rd year and above, because by then they must have extensive knowledge and ready enough to transfer to the real world. Basically, we should prepare our students good enough to enable them to transfer the knowledge, not simply going and doing trial and error. Of course, they make mistakes sometimes, but as much as possible, we would like to prepare them good enough with enough knowledge to go out there and help the community. And number 5, and finally, there must be an element of reflection, critical reflection in their activities. I mean, what did I learn? What could I have done differently had I had the opportunity to go back to the community? What are things that perplex me from the experience? Those are kind of things that we would like to invite students to come back from the experience to have deeper understanding about this discipline area, practice what they have learned, and fit the real community to address issues in the real world. That is SULAM actually. It's a form of experiential learning. Any questions so far? Please ask me.
Prof,
Yeah.
kita ada two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, why SULAM only up to deep learning only, not to the level of strategic learning? Any possible explanation on this?
Wow. Actually, SULAM goes beyond strategic, beyond deep learning. Because SULAM can transfer a person into a different person altogether. We have witnessed how one student who never realized that the life outside there is completely different from his experience at home. So, for instance, we sent one student to old folks' home, and the experience transformed the person completely. Now they understand why counseling is important, and at the same time, why tolerance diversity is important. I mean, there are many things that it depends on how we structure the activities actually. It depends on our learning outcome, your intended course learning outcome, and your intended sub skill outcome that like student to have, like ability to work in the project management, ability to negotiate with community, ability to deliver in terms of difficulty. For instance, now, if they're doing service learning after COVID-19, what alternative measures they have come up with? Is there any alternative measures? Are they creative enough, or they just abandon SULAM project, for instance? That is a test, meaning that in real life we face, unintended consequence, which they have to overcome instantly. So to answer that, yes, you can go beyond that. Second question, Dr. Niza?
Second question is, does SULAM has to be formalized?
Yes, it is a structured activity. That's why I'm here today, because I'm going to bring all the community engagement project to make it more structured and graded accordingly, so that students can benefit from the time invested in SULAM, because they may have spent 20, 30 hours, but you only evaluate them for 5%. That is unfair in terms of investment in SLT and assessment, for instance. Okay, anything else? Okay, I proceed to the next one. Yeah.
There's a request here.
Yeah.
Can you please switch on your webcam, Prof? Because we wish to see.
Hello, nak tengok muka pula. Let me see. Where is my camera? Okay, can you see me? Okay, just shoot.
Yes, we can see you now.
Okay. Okay, next question. Ada soalan?
No, Prof. Thank you.
Oh, saja nak muka. Okay. because I know Webex will take the bandwidth, so I will switch off for now. Okay. Okay. The benefit I'm not going to read one by one the benefit here, but you can see everybody will benefit. This is what an example of quadruple helix we're talking about. How the university, the student, the community, yeah. Yes. Rosita? Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Okay, so you can see how all this can benefit everyone. So as we go along, you can see how this benefit us. It's a new pedagogy for us. And I think for now, because we've been talking about university industry collaboration, but sometimes our lecturers, due to time limitation and industry players, perhaps we seldom contact players. In my case, for instance, because I'm teaching, I should be more in contact with teachers at school to understand what is going on at school, so that I can discuss issues at school, bring issues at school to my class. What about lecturers from College of Business, for instance? Are they in touch with the real world? What is happening out there in the stock market, in the care, whatever industry, you know? So this is a time for us to bring in industry if possible. For instance, you can bring CIMB to sponsor, to be your funder, or even SMEs, small SMEs, to become our collaborator, so that they can fund like 2,000 ringgit for us to execute this project. And surely this is our responsibility as a community. This is what we call University for Society. Why UGM was set up in Sinto? Why was it? Why not in KL? Why not in Alostar? Why not in Jitra? Because we want to develop this area. It's very symbolic. Why Sinto, a very dark area once upon a time, now becoming a college town, mushrooming, thriving, just like a self-sufficient city by itself. Why? Because of university. So it's time for the university to give back the community and the local community. It's so sad if after 30 years of setting up of UUM, Sinto and Changlun, it's not developed. So it's our responsibility. If we keep complaining, then it's time for us to take charge. Bring our students out there, help the community, the local community, do something, improve the quality of life, improve their perspective about life, improve their attitudes towards COVID, for instance. Maybe people in the rural area don't understand. If they go to the market, Changlun market, or any market in Kedah, you can see how people are behaving. But I don't know whether they have read enough about the consequence of not social distancing. I mean, those are part of advocacy that our students can be doing in relation to COVID issues right now. So I move on to the next one. What is SULAM? Now, SULAM is an experiential learning, but at the same time, we would like to institutionalize SULAM. This is how we prescribe SULAM at the university level. It has to be a course-based, must start up a certain course, not simply any add-on activities for the faculty, must attach to a certain course, must align with course learning outcome, is credit-bearing, where students will participate in the structured service activity, structured, well-planned, and meet the identified community needs, meaning that the needs of community will be our core thing here. It's not what we want to give, but what they want from us, and how can we work together, aligning community needs with our course learning outcome and content. And the ones that are done or along the way while they're doing SULAM, they will reflect on the service activity and experiences and relate them to the desired learning outcome. Whatever learning outcome that you set forth right from the beginning, for instance, ability to work in a team, for instance, ability to empathize, or whatever learning outcomes that you have set forth for the course. Well, hopefully, by undergoing this experience, students will have better understanding of the course content, a broader appreciation of the discipline, because the course base here meant a course in the discipline, not elective for the program. It's a discipline in the program. If it's counseling, the SULAM course must be from counseling. If accountancy, must be from the accountancy department, right? And also eventually this experience can enhance their personal sense of values and civic responsibility, meaning that we would like them to start giving back to the society even before they leave campus and get a feel how to become a part of a member of the community, not as a student. In other words, we are pushing them to become adult. I mean, in the speed that they should be ready. I mean, we prepare them, go out once they graduate, they are ready to drive on their own. So that is SULAM definition for the university. I know right now many of us are doing community service with their students, but I don't know how you align the course learning outcome and also your assessment, and whether you have any reflection element in that. Without this 1, 2, 3 course learning outcome tied up with the content and an element of reflection, that is not yet SULAM. But if you have done it a bit of here, not worry, we can go semester, keep improving and put more SULAM element in it. Okay, question? Okay, now I go to the next. How does SULAM differ from others? How is it different from others? Because you know, we talk about volunteerism. Can someone switch off the mic? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, when you look at SULAM, we look at from two angles here. Who is benefiting your service? And what is your main focus? You know, along two continuum. Dr. Azli, please switch off your mic. I can see your name. Sorry. Okay. So in terms of who is benefiting, there is a continuum from recipient, the community, and the provider, the student. Who is benefiting from this activity, the student or the community? The second dimension is focus. Focusing on learning, or are you focusing on service? Okay. So volunteerism. What is the focus here? Service, right? It's going to benefit the community. Right? We'll benefit more. We're talking about more, right? And in terms of internship, practicum, who is benefiting from this? The student, right? Because they are transferring their knowledge and getting credit for internship. And also they learn something from on-the-job experience. But when it comes to community service and field education, field work, right? Now we are looking at they coming together now. If you all of these things together, if you balance between service and learning, that's why we call it service learning. So you are trying to balance between the learning aspect, the serving aspect, and a mutual benefiting arrangement between us, the student, and also the community, the recipient. So in SULAM, we have three components here. The academic component, your course, the community involvement, where students go out to the community, and hands-on experience, practical experience. So what we can see here, if students only go out with bringing in what they have learned on campus to their practical, that is what we call internship. If they do bring academic and community engagement, they call it civic experience. But if you bring practical experience and community involvement, that is volunteerism, right? But if you bring everything together, that is service learning. The three tripartite relationship underpinning the philosophy behind service learning here. Okay, next. Why don't we look at a quick example? Sorry if I go too slow, let me know, because I'm trying to get everybody understand the concept. What might each look like? Of course, students have volunteered at the hospital, right? That is one kind of activity. They have done internship for medical doctors, perhaps internship at the hospital. But they can also do service learning at the hospital without becoming a medical student. So there are three different types of activities or community engagement that student can do. Let's look at another example. This is pretty common scenario in our local context. Student remove trash from a residential yard, gotong royong, etc., etc. These are service, right? They're providing service to the community, but they're doing volunteerism here. It has nothing to do with the cost or any reflection, intended outcome. It's just volunteerism. But look at this example. First, they remove trash, just like the first step, volunteerism. Then they analyze what they found, the second step, and then they share the results and offer suggestions for the neighborhood on how to reduce pollution. And then they reflect on their experience. So that is SULAM. You can see a very structured step-by-step that they have to do. It's not merely going out there, okay, UUM is sending a bus to Kampung X due to flood condition. So who would like to join? Okay, 40 students we put on the bus and go and help the community. Why am I there? Well, my roommate is going, so I'm joining her. There's nothing to do during semester break. Let's join them. That's it. Without intended learning outcome specifically to address any special skills, soft skills, for instance. But if you're doing SULAM, it's a very structured. You would like them to do something. Maybe this is a biology class, or this is a sustainable development topic for any course. I mean, this is something that is different from volunteerism. So SULAM is an element in the course in order to achieve specific learning outcome. And it's a new pedagogy about enhancing learning, improving community, transformative community engagement. It's a very structured, planned activity with intended learning outcome and experiential learning with critical reflection built into this. So any question about what SULAM is?
Prof, we have a few questions.
Yeah.
All right. Does SULAM same with the idea of deep learning which introduced by Michael Fullan?
Yes, definitely. Actually, SULAM is a pedagogy. Deep learning is processes that takes place. And deep learning takes place everywhere. In every pedagogy, we would like to see deep learning. You do first year experience, you do capstone, you do research, you do case study, PBL, just name it, because you would like students to engage into deep learning. Deep learning is a bigger umbrella, but underneath, there are so many strategies that can enhance that.
Okay, Prof. Another big one, which consists of another few questions underneath. Courses in co-curriculum centre since 1984 have required UUM students to carry out Khidmat Masyarakat, community services. How do these courses differ from SULAM? How could SULAM be integrated in co-curriculum courses? And students who were asked to carry students SULAM complained that they had to use up their money to carry out SULAM. Is there any fund from SULAM to be carried out? Thank you, Prof.
Okay, the last one, at UUM, HEA is providing a maximum of 1,000 ringgit for a lecturer from the discipline only, discipline core. They can fill the form. I think it's understood now. If you want to do SULAM, there is a form at HEA. You can ask Puan Azian from Director HEA. They have a form. Then you have to submit to HEA. They will screen, etc. I think your dean should be able to advise you on this because they have been discussing this with Deputy Vice Chancellor, Prof. Yusnida. That is the easiest answer. The second, co-curriculum. That was a beautiful question. Very good question. It's time for us to collaborate, actually. If I used to suggest to schools to try to link co-curriculum with the discipline core, discipline ilmu mereka, right? They're doing, for instance, if they're doing, I don't know, let's say counseling, what are the skills lacking and need to be highlighted by students in counseling? So why don't you create co-curriculum courses that can compensate the skills lacking in your main curriculum? If that can be realized, your core curriculum really address the content, the core field, core discipline of the program, I think it should be okay. You can do that. But for now, I think the core curriculum is not linked to any course learning outcome or program learning outcome. I mean, in the discipline knowledge. So that is the issue. Money-wise, I think they have to plan. That's why if lecturers can get industry to fund, or the school can have industry partner who can give some commitment. I know universities like UTM, they have commitment from big banks, like CMB gave them a couple of millions to do something continuously for 5-10 years project to uplift some community. I think that is the role of the university, the institution, the school leadership to find agency or partner to work with them for a sustainable time period. That's the answer. Is it okay, Dr. Niza, for now?
Yeah. We have 2 more. Do we need to proceed, or I shall pose the question?
Can I proceed first and then we take one at a time? Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay. Okay, next. Jalan pula. Okay, I think I skipped this. This is not SULAM, right? SULAM is not an add-on. Suddenly you want to add on something to your university. No, it's part of the core business. If you have like 46 credit for your core field, your discipline in the program, so that SULAM will come from your discipline, not the elective, not the core courses of the university. Okay, let us take another example. How do we bring in SULAM and learning together? Example, this is one course, maybe communication. This is the learning outcome. Students need to improve their public relation writing skills. This is the intended learning outcome. And you found that there is a community, our local health center needs to develop newsletter that informs the community of the variety of programs and services that they offer to the community. Well, you got the right match here. So that's why I suggest lecturer, if you ask student to find the community, yes, you can do that. But in the interest of time, it's better if you can have some suggestion. Maybe lecturer or faculty can identify community that is appropriate for the program. And then it will save a lot of time for the student to go and find on their own. But here you know there is a community that need that. So you send the student. What they need to do, student will work at the health center for 3 hours a week, learn about the organization first. And then after they're familiar with the organization, they can produce a monthly newsletter, which can be distributed to the neighborhood. This is one example, how to achieve the course learning outcome that meets the community needs. This is what they need. You don't go and ask them, would you like to have a newsletter? That's a good idea. That's not the point. The point is go and talk to them, what are their needs. If you think they need a better newsletter or they don't have one, they need to have one, then it's our job to sort of bring in the values to the community that this is good, brilliant idea. Right? We need to get the buy-in from the community, because service learning is not served for the community, it's working with the community, bersama-sama. We want their commitment. We want the commitment, not simply they come, okay, I'm happy for you to come and volunteer. I don't want to know what you're doing. Nope. To have a sustainable program, they must take interest. The community feel that is our urgent needs. They must take the interest in developing the program together with us. There must be certain commitment from the community. For instance, if we go to Kampung, a small village, rural area, maybe the imam or the MPKK, the Kampung community have some commitment. Okay, what I can do, I bring in the people here. You do the talk, okay, I will bring. You don't have to worry, doctor, you bring all the villagers here. At least that kind of commitment to show that they have a part to increase ownership of the program. Then only they can appreciate and student can appreciate and they will work together. Student will work together with the community. This is how they negotiate. Working with the community is not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. They have to negotiate. They have to make an appointment. They have to see certain officers. Many things. This is part of the teamwork skills that we would like to see happening in our students. And sometimes, of course, they have to overcome challenges, obstacles. Those are the things in real life that they have to overcome anyway. So let them go through before they finish studying at UUM, for instance. So again, I just want to reiterate, this is the component. I think enough for, good enough for me to display this. We would like to see the course content, meaningful service, critical reflection. In terms of development, we would like to see some personal development. The student maturity should be increased by taking a role as an adult in a community and civic lesson. They can empathize better. They can understand the real world situation better. And they can transfer that they have learned in the classroom to the outside world. And now they can understand why theory works sometimes. I learn lots of theory, but it doesn't work. And now time for them to come back and do some sort of reflection. So if I can conclude, the objective of service learning or SULAM here is to improve student learning by integrating theory with practice in the real world, increase their soft skill and civic engagement among students. And also we would like to meet the community needs through volunteerism, using students as our little ambassador here. They translate their expertise to the real world. And then they can create a collaborative environment. This is where you should highlight your university's role in the community. We can have certain, I know some people have some event where they invited the community leaders to have the opening speech. This will highlight our role in the community. So visibility of our university will be increased. This is what we call the impact of our university to the community. And provide opportunities for agency. If we can find, this is good. If we cannot, maybe some of our friends, our colleagues at the department are good at this. Why don't we appoint one marketeers to do all this promoting, go and find funding, corporate leaders, NGOs who's willing to collaborate and perhaps contribute to our project. And definitely, inshallah, if we can do this, we will apply what we call, we will sort of achieve what we call our third mission, University for Society. Effective practice, this is sort of guideline to be eligible to register your course as SULAM Embed. First one, you should look at your student learning outcome, meaning that you align the course learning outcome and then align learning outcome. The second one, the assignment is connected to the course content and should be discussed in class what you intend to transfer, the kind of theory that you would like to put into practice. And then number three, this is the one that I mentioned earlier, service activities organized and executed with the community partner, not for or not to, together. This is a mutual agreement between community and us. So I think it's high time for us to really start thinking about the community that we should work together as a faculty or as a program perhaps, not randomly chosen one community. Every semester you keep changing your community. You can do that, but I think to be more effective and sustainable and impactful, it will be a good idea if a school or faculty can identify specific communities that the faculty will go, you know, for continuous semester, because things cannot be overcome overnight. Sometimes you need continuous reinforcement. So you will be sending students from several batches to achieve your goals for the community. And the community partner is non-profit, and no money transferred here. Student lecturers do not receive payment for their service, nothing, no payment, but you can accept donation for the activities. And there must be a reflection component included in the assignment. I may not have time to cover here today, but you can look at the guidebook, the handbook of SULAM, prepared by Ministry of Higher Education. Lots of examples there, very critical reflection. There are many ways to do alternative assessment, etc. Number 7, this is also important. To be eligible for SULAM, the course must invest at least 20 hours in a semester of your SLT, student learning time, including preparation, meetings outside of class, and face-to-face interaction with the community. Minimum 20. It can go up to 100%. I know some classes have a specific program, a specific course like community service, 3 credits. And yeah, of course, that is very much relevant, appropriate for SULAM practice. So you can spend more hours outside, maybe 100 hours with the community. And in terms of assessment, it should be assessed minimum at a minimum of 30%, meaning that grades will take up about 30% of SULAM activities. Because otherwise it's unfair for us to ask students to go there minimum 20 hours. It's about nearly 20% of our SLT, and yet we did not give enough credit. So that is the sort of cutoff point decided at the national level and also at university level nationwide, in Malaysia at least. Any question about these practices? Okay, I go to the next one. Next, how are we going to approach SULAM? There could be more, but there are at least 4 different approaches to SULAM. It can be done direct SULAM, face-to-face. Today, maybe you can do e-learning, e-SULAM, because due to COVID, due to MCO, we may not be able to face-to-face, but we still can meet face-to-face virtually. So we transfer everything into virtual. Whatever that I mentioned earlier, we can use some, not all, definitely not all courses can be done virtually, but some like e-marketing, instructional technology, I think those can be creatively redesigned to meet a SULAM approach. So one of them is direct SULAM with face-to-face, like tuition, tutorial, whatever that can be done face-to-face, directly impacted the community. But at the same time, we can also use what we call indirect SULAM, meaning that a student will work on a certain project. It may not benefit the community instantly, but the outcome can benefit the community. Right? Environmental project, sustainable development project for Universiti Utara, Malaysia. Then they come up with some policy implication, what the top management of UUM can do to overcome the environment in certain area, for instance. Those are things that we call indirect SULAM. And the third one, this is also interesting, advocacy. Today, you can see lots and lots of us doing online advocacy, lots of forum, webinar, every day. Oh my God, we got headache, right? Every day we have lots, more than 3 or 5 e-forum, e-whatever, e-talk, seminar, etc. Well, this is an opportunity for our students or a platform for students to educate others about topic of the interest and of interest to public, especially at this current point. This is what we call ERT, emergency remote teaching. We are not doing a proper online teaching right now because we don't have time to redesign everything. It's not perfect. But what we are doing is ERT, emergency. Do whatever means that you can do to access to student. Mail, email, synchronous, asynchronous, email, in whatever way, chat. So perhaps if we can have maybe students from education can do advocacy, the importance of e-learning. Why or how WhatsApp can be used as a method of teaching, for instance. Or maybe you want to advocate from the economics. I think we should introduce GST. Why GST? Why not GST? Arguing against or for certain issues. Those are the kind of things our students can be doing too, to benefit certain community. Anti-bully, anti-cyberbully, anti-obesity, all these are the advocacy. And finally, they can do in terms of research-based. This is very much like KTP actually, research-based SULAM. And research-based SULAM can also be happening in the first 3. Whatever Whenever students gather and present information on areas of interest, when they do some scientific inquiry, those are research-based SULAM. And their research must benefit the community, not merely for publication's sake, but in the interest of certain communities. Research about certain environmental issues, maybe some areas being infected with certain virus, right? Why don't you do research? How to convince people, how to educate people, what are things that we can do to mitigate the problem. So these are what students can do under research-based SULAM. So in all, we have lots of creativities to maneuver in our courses actually. So there are various ways. I'm not limiting approaches to SULAM to these four, but these are the four approaches being mentioned in the literature repeatedly. I give quick example. Direct SULAM, tutoring. You can get this slide later. Indirect SULAM, organize a collection. Nowadays, crowdfunding, right? They can do that online, easy. You will talk about e-SULAM. Advocacy, you can plan putting a public forum on topic of interest in the community. Students can organize that. They can organize debate, for instance, or for a certain community. You can conduct public campaign or topics of interest. Research-based, this is a lot. I don't have to mention this, you know this. And on the right side, there's impact on certain skill. Well, the approaches that you chose will also depend on the kind of skills, the course learning outcome, the intended learning outcome, and you match with the approach to ensure that you achieve your course learning outcome. And people also be talking about, well, COVID, we have to abort our SULAM. Yeah, for some, you may have to. Okay, my student tried, my postgraduate student this semester, they tried to do SULAM, tried to go and do some intervention, counseling intervention. But unfortunately, COVID-19, the students are gone, so they cannot contact, it's primary school students, so they cannot contact the student via phone, etc. So they abort, they do reflection on things that took place because of SULAM and what because of COVID-19, and a lot of reflection. What in future if they have to do something, they have to plan alternative plan, for instance. So if you look at e-SULAM for some courses, I think you can convert instantly. You can do it fully online or partially online, depending on the learning outcomes of SULAM. And community can be reached through online or face-to-face approach. I got this slide from UNIMAS. My friend, Dr. Afia from UNIMAS, shared with me last week how they did it in UNIMAS. Online community service might include regional, national, even global. Well, with today's, suddenly people feel more comfortable. I myself, those days feel a little bit awkward to talk to this machine alone. But today I can have a conversation with a friend in the States, in Indonesia, in Singapore. Even a couple of days ago, we had a session with Dr. Amrita with people from 4 different countries: Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. So those are interesting things that we should be thinking now. Nothing can stop us if the course can sort of allow this flexibility. And communication can be done not simply synchronously, but asynchronously, online blogs, text discussion, videos, audio, etc., etc. We have all tools available. I'm not expert either. I'm still learning to cope with this, the new normal in learning. But I think together we can do it now as a team. Example project of e-SULAM, we can help the community to solve social and technical issues, contributing to successful online communities, develop crowdsourcing platform to increase socioeconomic status of a community, online marketing class in which undergraduate students develop marketing materials for a community. So these are things that our students can do. They are smart. I think they are faster than us, at least me. I'm talking on behalf of myself. So they're more creative. Give them any tool, they're fast learner. So it's our job now as a facilitator in our classroom is to create opportunity for them to give a better experiential learning. So this is one example. When COVID-19 happened, what happened at SAML, School of Education and Modern Languages, our friend Dr. Aziza converted her project into tele, semi-UEM tele psych support. Initially, it's supposed to be face-to-face support, counseling. This is our undergraduate students doing tele psych support from their hometown. One from Pendang, one from Machang. So they can do that. How they develop, I'm sure the lecturers and the students have been able to negotiate with a certain community, with the JPN, State Education Department, and certain counselors. So they have some community that can advocate. So this is what we can do instantly. They never thought of this before. But now, due to telepsycho support. So very quickly, how much time do I have? Do I talk too much? See, Nisa, what time is it now? I cannot see. I don't have my watch. Very quickly, just
for one hour more.
Okay. I'm going to stop here. Give me 10 more minutes, and I'm going to invite Dr. Ani. At UUM, we also develop a SULAM guide, which we cannot distribute yet because we're going to wait for Senate approval. Then this team has developed a guideline. This is part of the guideline. We promote ACE model, a 4-step SULAM. You can have this later. Start with analyzing, meaning that examine and study the CLO and the community needs. Like I mentioned earlier, the first step, we analyze what kind of learning outcome you would like to see happening in our SULAM and which community can fulfill this particular needs. And look at the kind of students that we have, the kind of courses that we have. And then negotiating with the community, we go back and construct our plan or do some planning for successful execution of this particular project. And then number 3, executing. They go out to the community and start doing whatever face-to-face, indirect, or data collection, whatever, they start doing it for the community. And finally, once everything is done, they come back and compile their resources and present their outcome and reflect on the activities on what they have learned. So the details you can get here later. I'm not going to touch. My final slide here is a very simple step, the 4-step that I mentioned. This is something that yet can be modified. This is just a tentative to help us go through the process. Stage 1, you analyze, you check your syllabus, check with the course coordinator which course should be turned into SULAM, suitable for SULAM. I'm sure not every course is suitable for SULAM. This is step 1 is the responsibility of at the departmental level, then the lecturer level. So you gather information about student, the skill, year 3 for this particular course, they must have learned a lot about what, so they are ready to do what. Then the prepare proposal and send the document to HEA for approval. I mean for funding, but for SULAM project, you don't need their approval, but for funding, you need their approval. And also sometimes it's better to get community approval as well, that this is a mutual agreement between us and the community. Sometimes a small project may not be too obvious about approval here, but if we're talking about big grand project, like a 2-year, 1-year project, maybe there are certain milestones that you want to achieve during first or second semester that your funder may want to see it. Okay? And then prepare course assignment based on the syllabus and the contact communities, get permission, etc. Then they can go and have a meeting with the community, do some reflection. Then stage 2, student will come back and action plan for the project, what kind of issues that they have discovered and how are they going to overcome the issues. And then once they understand, they will do reflection, and then they go to the field, implement. The implementation may take 1 hour, 3 hours, 1 day. It depends on the project, right? Once they're done, they do a deep reflection. Each time we strongly recommend they have reflection after every stage. So this is what we call enhancing deep critical reflection about what is taking place in their experiential learning. And stage 4, they come back and prepare a report, and maybe it is good, or it's a good idea, if they can present before the community in addition to us, right? And another reflection, and then evaluation is given to student on project and reflection. Okay, this is one full circle actually. Learning actually is not that tedious, just that to make sure that we follow the step as beginners, but once you're done, you don't need this flow chart anymore. Oh, sorry, this is the last, not that one was second last. Forming partnership. People have been asking how to form partnership. Well, chapter 3 in the handbook, there are 3 chapters. Chapter 1, I normally do chapter 1 only, the conceptualization. Chapter 2 is about the how to, and chapter 3 is about forming partnership. So what I can conclude from chapter 3 is that first, I think we need to examine the history of relationship between the community and our department, if not institution. Maybe your department has been working closely with this community. It will be much easier to start off with the community that is very close to you, so that they would be mutually supporting each other. And then, or you identify your partners and know your community right from the beginning. And then get to know the partners better. Then there will be some key decision involved in partnership. What are their responsibilities? Or in other words, there must be a clear term of reference. What are our responsibility from UUM, from our university, and what are the community sort of responsibility, and what are maybe the NGOs or the organization, the industry responsibility in this partnership. So it has to be clear. It can be very small. It can be very big that involve MOA, for instance, if you want to have a greater impact on the project. So that's about it from me. Maybe I go back to this flowchart. Any question before I hand over to Dr. Ani?
Prof, you have few questions. I think you have answered several questions.
Okay.
We have SULAM do MCO. Can anyone share any idea how to go about it? I think you have shared it.
Okay. Maybe Dr. Ani can share later. Yeah.
Okay, all right. How to deal with possible rejections by parents?
Okay. We are talking parents of the students or parents of the community here?
Maybe you can explain by both from both perspectives.
Okay, that is for us to negotiate. I'm not sure whether will intervene unless your mission, your project is really sort of tricky. For instance, if you want to send your student to Pulau Tuba, yes, you need to get parents' permission because it involves ferrying students to Pulau Tuba. I know CUIC is doing a community project in Pulau Tuba. It would be good if SULAM can come in. And yes, you need money and you need some assurance about insurance. That I think you need to discuss at the faculty level. It is to negotiate with parents, I think. It is the role of the faculty, not simply of the lecturer. I mean, this is my personal opinion. It's unfair to let only the lecturer to negotiate, but I think it's the SULAM project is for the program. It means to compensate for the insufficient skills that provided by other courses. So we hope that this course can sort of help compensate for whatever lacking in other courses. So it's the role of the institution or at least of the faculty, the school, to convince parents at whatever level what we are doing is for the betterment of the student. But at the same time, we have to take the risk to do something if it's risky and tricky. Yes, anything else, Dr. Nisa?
Prof, can SULAM project be used to achieve several learning outcomes as it takes minimum of 20 hours of SLT?
Yes, it can. It can. It depends on your intended learning outcome and assessment. If you align your learning outcomes and assessment, you can match the two, the SULAM project can bring both, why not? In fact, maybe later Dr. Ani will share how they combine 3 courses together to create one SULAM project. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Maybe I let Dr. Ani share and then we come back to Q&A.